Very good stuff yesterday from the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department as they joined an organization called KC Common Good and other partners to announce a significant drop in homicides in the Santa Fe neighborhood. Now, this is a 4 square mile area that accounts for 20% of the citywide homicides this century. And they have seen a dramatic reduction in homicides in this Santa Fe neighborhood year over year. So we wanted to welcome on and say good morning to the police chief of Kansas City, Missouri. Stacey joins us on KCMO. Chief, thank you as always for your time. Take us through this announcement yesterday and the success that you're seeing and the why behind it.
Well, good morning, Pete. The success behind it, I almost want to start with that, but we'll start from the beginning. This time around last year, we were already kind of headway into a model that we were looking at from Omaha called Omaha 360. It's Kansas City-ized since it's been here, but it's just a lot of people working collaboratively together. Sorry, it's early this morning. Together to reduce crime, and the whole gist behind it is kind of like that citywide approach to violent crime that I talk about. Is when everyone gets involved, that's going to reduce violent crime. So the strategies with the 360 is the collaboration and obviously the 3 pillars of prevention, intervention, and enforcement. But there's also touches on recovery and reentry, obviously support services, and, just sustainable funding and support. And in Omaha, there was a lot of investment by the business community and the city to invest in a specific area. And that's what they did. They went neighborhood by neighborhood. And they've had great results of reduced violent crime. And it's really changed the landscape of Omaha. So we're trying to replicate that here in Kansas City, but in our own way. And since last year, when it was implemented, it's shown some results. Mm-hmm. Like last year, there was nine homicides in the Santa Fe neighborhood. And while 2 is too many, there's been 2 this year. And, you got to celebrate some of the successes. But as a police chief, I will tell you that when you're looking at stats and you claim the good, you also got to, then sometimes when, you have a bad year or a rise or a spike in violent crime in a particular area, I mean, I guess someone come calling to you and say, well, what are you doing? And it's not working. But my answer to that would be, we have an area of our city that has experienced generational violence for decades, at least 2 decades, and we're just trying to do all that we can. And I don't mean just the police department. I'm just talking about people of Kansas City are trying to do everything that we can to combat different pieces that make up, the violent crime in that area, or try to break that cycle of violence.
So KC 360 is what we're calling it. Like you said, Kansas City-izing, I guess, Omaha 360, which was the program up there. What part of this prevention, intervention, enforcement, you mentioned those 3 pillars, what part of this was lacking the most or is lacking the most in Kansas City that you believe has allowed this specific neighborhood to start turning things around?
Well, I think when you empower people or empower neighborhoods to just, I don't want to say decide, because sometimes when I put it, it seems too simply stated. But when people come together and they no longer accept the violence in their neighborhood, and that is through coming together, going door to door. We do area canvases. We are getting to the root causes of crime. We are doing enforcement. And I don't want to skip that piece. That was actually something that I was very thankful was mentioned yesterday in the press conference, is the enforcement piece, because that's needed. There's been other studies in other cities that have, where there was like street violence outreach groups that worked a specific area, but it lacked law enforcement, and there wasn't the results that was needed. You have to have law enforcement, but Pete, as you know, if we could arrest our way out of this, we would have already done it years ago. But obviously the certainty of consequences that I mentioned to you last time that we spoke, you have to have that. I mean, you have to have certainty of consequences when you have violent crime. But it's everybody working together in different spaces, just because violent crime is such a complex issue.
So how do you? I mean, this is 2 square miles. As you well know, Kansas City is what, about 500 or 300, I believe it is. Maybe it's 500. I don't know. I'm blanking on it right now. So
it's 312, 319.
That's right.
Something like
That's right. So how do you? I mean, listen. I know you don't need it in all 319 square miles, but how do you apply this with a short staff right now? How do you apply this to some of the other violent parts of Kansas City, and what do you want to do on those next steps?
So we are applying most of this in other parts of our city. When I talked about that one area of our city where we experienced like over 200 shots fired, and that was the area in and around 35th and Prospect. It was 200 some odd shots fired. It was, I think we had 5 to 7 people shot. One of them was under the age of 5, and we had another homicide. We converge on that area in a citywide approach, which does somewhat mirror the KC 360. Now, KC 360, we all meet on Thursdays, and it's actually wonderful to see. You have community leaders, you have social service agencies, you have elected officials, you have police, you have all kinds of different Kansas Cityans coming together on Thursday to talk about solutions, to talk about, not just talk about, we're doing it. And when I say that, we talk about it there, but we plan there and then go out and do area canvases and just meeting people where they are at their front door, just to talk about how we can help you, what services that we can provide, and just empowering that neighborhood.
Well, that's great. Stacey Graves, Kansas City, Missouri Police Chief, is on KCMO. Well, this is a great step in the right direction, Chief, and we're happy to talk about it, promote it, and happy for you, and most importantly, of course, the neighborhood as well there at Santa Fe. And we'll continue to see, hopefully, this plan continue to be implemented and having a lot of success. We appreciate the time.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
All right, there you go. Stacey Graves on KCMO Talk Radio.